All right. All right, we're live. I'm going to go back and make sure on my last few, maybe just last couple live streams, YouTube didn't put 1,000 ads in there. I apologize if they did. I monetize it, but I don't set the number of, let's see, so this is last week's. Let me just take a look at this and see what it looks like. Oh, no, they didn't do mid. Okay. So I'm going to add some, like every 30 minutes or so, not like crazy. And, all right. Save. So usually YouTube ads, like, will do, like if I do a 2-hour video, they'll put an ad every 5 minutes for like a half an hour. And then no ads after that. And I'm like, well, no one's going to get to the half an hour mark if you've got an ad every 5 minutes. It's ridiculous. Let's see. So I'm going to check here the guitar roulette one. Oh, nope, they didn't do any ads. Okay, so I will, like I said, I will put a couple ads in here. Just help them with the revenue any bit I can. Actually, how was that video doing? Is it getting any more? Yeah, that didn't get too many. So we're going to do a review today. So hey, Holly, you're the only one here. I'll do a blast at Discord. Let me just let people know I'm here. And live. It's all about me. I'm live. Where is everyone? Okay. So I'll put this over here in case I need it. Uploads. I may need that. So I do have that new one. Let's see. Oh, it's weird. Okay, so nobody else has seen it. Has anybody watched the new video that I did? I haven't made it public yet. It's technically public. It's unlisted. So I guess technically you could share that link. And I'm fine. It doesn't really matter. It's monetized, so you know you watch it, you're going to see ads. It's not like, yep. I don't even know. My wife probably gave that to me. So, hey, Alan. Hey, Joseph. Roger. Good to see you again. Lena. Good to see you. You're live this time. It's a good day to be live because I'm gonna kind of go over all of the things we've talked about the last 7 lessons. I think 7 lessons on CAGED. We did. Kind of got this little bit, and then we talked about that bit, and then we started throwing some scales on top of these shapes. Okay, and that's the scale thing. You know, maybe what we can do. Actually, probably would be a real beneficial thing is more how to use CAGED method for rhythm playing too. Anytime you slide a chord up, you know, like remember that song by Wishing You Were Here by Chicago? If you're old like me, you remember it. I think it's basically just maybe D minor at the end, but it's a D shape. And I think that you go to the D major at some point. Wow, everybody's chatty. Everybody's saying hello. Tony's here. Paul's here. John Fazio's here. Okay, now everybody's showing up. What will be the next topic? I don't know. I may continue on this one. I'm open to suggestions. Keep in mind, this is lesson what? Did I change the number on the lesson, by the way? I did. This is lesson 226 since California lockdown back in March of last year. We weren't allowed to leave our houses in LA County. We weren't even allowed to look outside. If we looked outside, they'd arrest us. So, but yeah, I'm open for suggestions about what you'd like to learn. I mean, as long as it's kind of, we did a lot on reading, and if I look at those, you know, and I hate to go necessarily by the numbers, but let's see if those have picked up at all. I mean, actually, to be honest, oh no, those are my, so the live stream stuff, I've done basically 7 lessons, lesson number 8, I think, on the CAGED method. And then I was doing a bunch of reading stuff. And, you know, most guitar players don't really need to be able to read. Hey, the thing is, that's a truism. But if you do learn to read music for, you know, music, not tab, music, that will probably change your purpose for playing guitar. It'll change your perspective on playing guitar, and it'll definitely change your opportunities if you can read pretty good, because there are a lot. Thank you, Bruce, for all the paperwork you're doing there. It'll definitely change things. So, you know, I don't regret showing, but at least we did all 6 strings. So I got through all 6 strings in open position. And trust me, the reading thing could go on for months. And it did. It was several, because I'm to 1 day a week now. And I mean, music reading, that one started April 28th. I started doing the music reading April 28th. So we did music reading pretty much up until August 9th. So some of the spring, half of the spring and half of the summer. So, oh, thank you, Bruce. I'll tell you what, let me do the Discord link and then I'll post it. So the Discord link, anytime I have any diagrams or anything, I will post them there. So anything you see that I have here will be in Tom's PDFs on the Discord, and it's free to join. That's if you can, try to make sure your username is identical or very, very similar to your YouTube name, your YouTube handle. So let's see who I just saw. So Jack Lloyd and Aslan and Sam Stamos. Good morning. Okay, so one of the things with doing a review of this chunk of information that I covered in the last 7 weeks is that I'll probably think of things I didn't say before that I now probably realize, oh shoot, I should have said that. It also means, another thing is that if you were like kind of getting it, you know, another pass through it will be good. Now this will just be today. So next week I'll either start a new subject or we'll continue on the CAGED method. I'm kind of tempted to start talking about the CAGED method more in relationship to rhythm playing. And like I said, anytime you move one of the shapes up, the neck, you're technically doing some type of CAGED method. So that kind of thing, you know, everybody did this. And, you know, so technically that's kind of a CAGED method. You know, you're taking that E form and you're moving it around. So you end up with different scales, different keys or whatever, you know. I mean, every one of these has a unique sound to them. I like this one a lot. Basically F sharp over E's. This one probably doesn't really work, or this one doesn't. This one does. This one does. write a song with that. And so that's kind of one of the first things you do as a guitar player is you start messing around with a shape. You finally got some shape down and you start playing around with it. What was the song? Oh no, Riding a Storm Out. It's just an A minor chord split up and then an A major form. So technically A minor would come under the, I would say it's technically an A form. It's a version of the A form. So C minor, you really wouldn't do a version, like you can't really do, there's no way to play C minor. Like I can, middle 4 strings I can do it, but I can't, that E string gets out there. G minor, kind of do that if you move the first finger down as long as you're playing this form. But if you have that open B string now, you're asking for trouble. So E minor, obvious, and D minor. So the A, E, and D are more obvious transfer, to the minor form version of them. But you can still see, like I can take that G minor shape and I can still visualize G major shape. I can still visualize that G minor. So if I'm playing up here in C minor, I might very well think of this as a C minor kind of version of the G shape. Okay. But yeah, so I don't know. So who asked me what? Let's see that you guys are so talkative. I love it. Way up here, someone said, what are you going to teach next? And like I said, oh, yeah, and I can't even pronounce that. Maybe, I'm guessing Vietnamese? Did you reply? I don't see it. Hey, John Y., good to see you. John's yelling at us. Norwegian wood, no. Although Norwegian wood, let's see. It's kind of like that. I'm out of tune right now, but yeah, I wasn't playing it, but I was just there. So yes and no to confuse the question. So I'm open to ideas. Hey, Joseph. Hey, Jay. Let's see, who else is here? Yeah, I've visited Karen Carpenter's gravesite. She's buried at the Hollywood Cemetery, not the Hollywood, Forest Lawn, off of is it off of Cahuenga? There's a lot of celebrities up there. Andy Gibb is up there too. Who else did I see? Lucille Ball, I think, is up there. Michael Jackson is in the Glendale one. And then Lenny Bruce is here in Granada Hills, so he's buried at a Jewish cemetery. We went hunting for his because Beth and I are fans of Mrs. Maisel, and I love Lenny Bruce character in it. It was actually only supposed to be one episode, but it was so popular they kept putting him in there. And not that I was a huge Lenny Bruce fan, because I don't know how you would have necessarily heard him. I mean, did he do records? It was more his infamy because he cursed and he got arrested. He got arrested and put in jail for using the words you can't say. Hey, we got a lot of people showing up. So, but you know who it's interesting because I really think of Billie Eilish and Phineas, her brother Phineas, as being very, very much like the Carpenters. You know, brother and sister. The brother produces the sister. The sister's the singer. They write together somewhat. Although Carpenter's did a lot of Paul Williams songs, who was a great writer. There's a documentary on Paul Williams, Waiting for Paul Williams or something. It was a bizarre documentary. I was like, okay, this is weird. I don't know that that's not an endorsement, but I got in my queue. I've got that Leonard Skinner on. I think it's Netflix has a Leonard Skinner documentary, so I'm hoping to watch that soon. But Udayan, good to see you. So. Sorry, I'm running long here. But again, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of do an overview or review of the last 7 weeks, kind of, in the hopes that when, I kind of restate some of this stuff, I might say it in a different way or add information that I should have added before and forgot. Or it may be the first time you're hearing it, but I may, state it in a way that suddenly a light bulb goes on. Okay. And the whole caged method thing, the term caged is derived from the acronym made by the five open chords that you see on my I guess on my right, your left. Thanks, Holly. Hey, Leo. Travis picking. We could talk about that. I think we did, Bruce. We did do a series on Travis picking. I mean, I'm not opposed because we have turnover. Also. In this video, in the information on this video, I changed some of the download or some of the purchase links. So they're like the first 6 links there are Sweetwater links. So if you're going to buy anything from Sweetwater, click on one of those links and then go do your shopping. And then I get a percentage of that sale. So if you're going to buy a guitar from Sweetwater, might as well send me a couple percent. And then there's also the Amazon link. So if you do a lot of Amazon shopping, any of those links you click on below, the Amazon ones, you click on those and you don't even have to buy the guitar picks or the strings or the capo or whatever it's being sold on there. You go shopping and you buy a new car at Amazon. Can you buy a new car at Amazon? Somebody check that for me. Hey, Art Bloomer. Denise, good to see you. Yay. What? Okay, well, your work computer's not working, Denise, so you can't work. That's on them. So I guess you just hang with us while you do that. So there are 5 chord shapes that most beginners learn, and they just coincidentally happen to form the caged system. You can really kind of, if you're in whatever key you're in, you can kind of break down the fretboard into 5 chunks. Now, I just did a video that I'm going to probably post it like noon on Thursday. For some reason, noon to 3 and noon on Thursday and Friday are supposedly the best time to post on YouTube, and I'm assuming, I don't know if that's East Coast time or West Coast time or whatever. So I'm going to hold on to that video. So it's going to, but you can still get to it through the Discord in the chat. Chat. I wanted to say chat and I said shit. Good thing I didn't want to say chat. You can see a link for that. And I have ads turned on, so I'll make money from any view that you watch, but you can, I do that. So a couple of reasons. One, I kind of want to get another pair of eyes or 50 pairs of eyes on it. See if I told something obvious I missed, misspelled something or something. It requires me rebouncing and then re-uploading, and then copy and pasting all that data. So it's a bit of work for one misspelling. Yeah, I might not do it, but if there's like 3 there, then I'll probably like, oh shoot, I don't want to look like an idiot any more than I normally do. But in that video, I'm talking about the 5 pentatonic shapes, and you can really divide the neck up into those 5 pentatonic shapes. And in fact, I'm going to show you a slide or a graphic from that. So I'm gonna at the end of this video, we're gonna live stream. I'm gonna show you that, and then maybe we'll play a game where let's try to find the caged chord. Okay, so we have C, and the whole thing about that is that if you play a C chord, all of these, you'll notice every one of these 5 chords could be played with 3 fingers. In fact, they could be played with your first 3 fingers. C, A. It's a little bit of a, like, there's a lot of different ways to play A. I should do a video on that. I say that every time. Ooh, a Gibson tribute. Nice. What? Okay. Denise has got serious gear lust. Okay, and then G with 3 fingers, and then E with 3 fingers, and D with 3 fingers. Okay, so we use these 3 fingers. Okay, I want you to try to do these chords with these 3 fingers. So exclude the index finger, your pointer. Okay, so we're gonna play C like this, not natural at all. I'll give you a second. And you'll know why in a second if you haven't done. And then play A like that. That one, that's how I play A anyway. A little anticipation by Carly Simon. So that's A, and then G. I often play G like this, so especially if I'm going to do. I'm going to do that kind of thing. Okay, and then E. I don't normally play, but this isn't too hard. This is easier than the C for sure. Okay, you play E like that again, keeping your first finger available. See, and then D like this. Okay, and that's not natural either. It doesn't feel natural, but again, you're keeping your first finger available. And what I call your first finger is your God-given capo. So if we play C like this, if your hand's strong enough, you can slide it up a fret and bar the top 3 strings, and now you've got a C sharp chord. And then you slide up again, you got a D chord, and you have an E flat chord. Now, you don't have to be able to play this. I've said this all along. You just have to be able to visualize this. So there are shapes, scale shapes, other chord shapes, things like that. But there's licks. There's major pentatonic, minor, blues, scales, all around this shape. So if you're playing over, again, this is C, C sharp, E, D sharp, or E flat, E, F. If you're playing an F, if you can find this chord, you can find it. You can find all sorts of licks and scales and good notes up in this position. You can also find stuff down here where if you know this is F, keep in mind, that's an F, right? Everybody knows it. Well, that's an E form. See how it looks like an E chord slid up a fret? Okay, again, we're using our God-given capo here. Okay, so I can do that with the C shape, and again, you don't have to be able to play this. Actually, to be honest, I think this chord kind of comes in handy, and John Lennon would often play E like this, or sometimes I think he played with the E string open. Right? No, that's in, help is in G, I think. But yeah, so it's not a, it's a worthy goal to try to get this shape down. But it is a stretch. Your pinky's way out there. You'll notice when I'm playing it, my thumb is really opposite my fingers. Okay, definitely when I'm playing some stuff, I'm lazy. I got my thumb hanging over the top of the fretboard, like I tell you not to do. Okay. If I didn't have my thumb hooked there, my hand would probably fall to the ground because I'm a lazy guitar player. So I hooked this on there to hold my hand in position. Okay. So if I'm doing something that I'm really... Now, there's another reason. Like if I'm playing C like this, I'll have my thumb over here to deaden that E string in case I hit it. Because I want C, not C over E. Sometimes I want C over E. So if I'm going C... If I'm playing like... that would kind of be like... Layla. See, I'm muting that E. Now I'm playing the E. So that's kind of a boom, 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 boom. It's a root position chord. It's not in C, I don't think, originally, right? It's probably, what is it in? D? Maybe it's in C. Maybe that's why I just naturally heard it. But you got C. And then I put the E in the bass. The E is the third of the triad C, and so that's just called a second or first inversion triad. And then you go to the F chord, and that leads that. See, this is totally off subject, but it's that E, C over E leads really strong to that F chord. Okay, so it's a musical device. I could, they could have just written that song and played C. Right, but putting that E in there on the second bar over the C chord, or making the first inversion chord, gives it forward momentum into the 4 chord. It's going one over the 3, right? So it's, you can just really, It's almost like the bass player was trying to tell everybody, here comes the 4 chord. Let's go. Here comes the 4 chord. Okay, but it's in the piano too, I believe. So, okay, now, so we can take this A chord. Remember we played this A shape. And this one's also hard. Remember I did a video called Son of a B chord. But if you can get it down, it's great. It's a very usable. And the great thing is I'm muting the bottom string with my tip of my first finger. So I can. So if I want, like if I were to play that progression, I'd probably go. But if I wanted C sharp to D sharp to G sharp, or D flat to E flat to A flat, same progression. Then I would probably use bar chords if I didn't have time to put on a capo. If it was just like these chords show up for maybe 4 bars and then we go back to the original key or something, I'm not going to throw a capo on for that. But yeah, having that skill set of being able to play these shapes, all of them technically, if you can, it's good for your stretch and your strength in your hands, and it takes it'll take a while to get there. It's not critical, but more critical in reference to the CAGED method is to visualize these shapes. So again, this like up here, I'm gonna pick on F. So if I play A and then go up a fret, remember you got to have there's got to be a space here. There's got to be a fret there between the first finger and the other fingers. That's B flat, B, C, and that's what this thing is all about. If you're wondering what the heck is that, that is all about that. So if you can just remember that between E and F and B and C, those are half steps. And on the guitar, that translates to 1 fret. Everything else, all the other note intervals are two half steps or a whole step, or on guitar, 2 frets. So C is here. C to D, is that one of the EFs, BCs? No. So D is a whole step. D, E, no, that's not one of the half steps. So again, 2 frets. EF, yeah, that's one of the half steps. So we go up 1 fret, okay? F, G, yeah, that's not one of the half steps. So it's got to be. So if you can remember just 2 of the half steps, you can go, oh yeah, okay. Okay, so as I'm taking this A form up, I could go to B and to C and then D, E, and here's the F. So I'm here on the A form, F chord. This is an F chord, but it's A shape or A form. Okay, it looks like a little A chord. If I capoed at that fret, if I capoed at the 8th fret, I could play Steve. Yeah, that's one of the reasons. Steve Berry asked. Thank you, Bruce. Steve Berry asked if I'm deadening the bottom string. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why my thumb's hanging over there. Now, there's no reason for the thumb to hang over on the G chord, but it's just, again, I'm just lazy. It's do as I say, not as I do. Now, if you can make a G chord sound like this, with your thumb here, fine. Okay. But if I'm going to play G with a 2 added like this, then not only is my thumb going to be, it's almost on the bottom of the neck. Okay. And that would be the chord, the first chord, a half step below the first chord up. Okay. Every breath you take. And I'm not even sure if that's how he played, because actually, that's a hard chord, and Andy Summers has very small hands, so he may have played it a different way. I have to look at a video and see how he played it. I'm sure there's somebody who's done a really thorough takedown of it, how he played it and everything. But yeah, Layla is an Eric. It's a Derek and the Dominoes technically. So if you're trying to find it in Eric Clapton, you might not find it. It's Derek and the Dominoes, which is Eric Clapton. I don't think there was any dominoes. It was just Eric and his band. Okay, just scanning for more questions, but I think you're good. Yeah, that would be weird, right? F sharp and a bass. That's actually kind of cool. And what that would be is actually, technically, that would be kind of implying an F Locrian scale. Which is the 7th mode of the major the modes. So it's kind of, it's a beautiful. Yeah, but I'm actually muting the, G over F sharp. Yeah, that's actually a pretty common chord back in the 60s. A lot of singer-songwriters did that. Okay. Technically major seventh, but it actually would be technically a third inversion major chord. Believe it or not, we're not going to talk about inversion. Okay. So if I go to G and play it this way, then I can move it up like this. And again, this is probably, of all of them, this may be harder than the C one, because we've got all 4 fingers and we have a space, like here's a B flat. But the nice thing about that, you don't necessarily have to be able to play this, but you should be able to visualize it. And I might use that triad at the bottom, so being able to know that B flat. I might use that for something, but it also is like, here's the major pentatonic or the minor pentatonic. I could use the minor, the B flat minor pentatonic. Okay, so again, starting to visualize these chords up and down the fretboard, and then the shapes associated with them, is what the CAGED method is all about. Okay, the E form is probably the most common. The first bar chord we ever learned is probably this F chord. It's a little easier up the fretboard to a point, obviously, but like here at the 7th fret, 8th fret, that bar chord, if you're struggling with it here, there's a couple reasons. I mean, for one thing, you're fighting the nut. The nut's saying, I'm going to hold these strings up, and you're saying, no, I'm going to push them down. But the further away you get from the nut and from the saddle, the less resistance you get on downward and also on bending. It's also difficult to bend a string here, okay? So that's one thing. Also, your arm is closer to your body, which makes this bar chords a little easier. So if you're really struggling to get that F chord, and you're like fixated on F, don't fixate on F. Play C bar chord up here at the 8th fret, and get that down. See if you can get that to sound good. The neck's a little, maybe a little wider there. I think someone's gonna beat me to it. Hey, we got 40 people on. That's crazy. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, totally. And sorry, AJ saying if you got big fingers, you can use 2 fingers to play A. That's true. And actually, flamenco players actually play A with 2 fingers. They bar these 2 notes, and then they check the 2nd finger underneath. So they can kind of do that kind of stuff. But anyway, we're talking about the E form. So if you're having trouble with the F bar chord, if you can get it here, then you can start working it down, and then it'll only get like slightly harder every time. Again, your arm's further away from your body. The frets are a little bit bigger. You're getting more resistance from the nut. So I wouldn't necessarily make F your first bar chord, although it's almost everybody's first bar chord. But I would maybe take that shape and move it up here, and then start to work it down. And maybe by the end of a week, you could have F. Okay. But yeah, with that shape, like here I'm in C, here's the major pentatonic. We're going to get into all of these shapes. Did anybody talk about, hey Jake, what's going on? Jake Starr. Anybody talk about what they'd like to work on next? So, because I'm game for getting off of CAGED method, but if not, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take CAGED method more in how we use CAGED method to come up with rhythm ideas. I think that might be kind of a fun way to look at it, because that's actually technically, guitar is 50% lead and 50% rhythm. Technically, when you're playing, when you're working as a musician, unless you're Eric Clapton or you're Joe Satriani or you're even Eric Clapton, if you're Joe Satriani or you're Steve Vai, okay, maybe 90% of your time you're going to spend playing lead. But for the rest of us, Probably 95% of the time I'm playing guitar, I'm playing rhythm or a rhythm part or maybe a lead line, but in the context of not soloing, not improvising. And maybe only 5% of my time I spend soloing. But yet we tend to spend 95% of our time working on soloing and kind of sacrificing the skill that would actually probably, if we're trying to work as a guitar player, the skill that would get us more work, and that would be playing, being a very good rhythm player, learning a lot of songs, memorizing a lot of songs. Like, country players, they'll know 500 classic country standards. Jazz players will know 500 jazz standards without ever having to look at a chart. I don't, because I have horrible memory for that kind of stuff, and I'm doing new music every day. So I'm not. If I was just doing real book gigs, jazz gigs, yeah, I would have 500 songs memorized. When I was leading worship, I probably had 50 worship songs memorized. But yeah, so it just depends on what your needs are. But yeah, so I feel like though the rhythm, looking at this CAGED method from a rhythm perspective could be a really good. You missed other examples of E chord. Yeah, so one little exercise you can do. I'll give you an exercise here. And we'll do it in a second. Okay, let's talk about D chord. There's D shape. Remember, I had you play it with these 3 fingers, and now we go up here, first finger. Okay, and so I've got a space here. I'm just playing the top 4 strings. I could play, if I wanted the 5th and the bass, I could go bar it, but I don't have any bar. I'm just getting 1 note here. It's still not easy. I'm not saying this is going to be a chord you're going to use. This is not a shape you're going to use, but it's, if you know that that's G. You can, if you visualize that shape, you can see that shape, you can see all the scales around it. You see all the notes. I was going to talk about like transition licks that take you from one shape to another. Like that lick right there does like a D sus thing. And then I go to an E sus shape and then a G sus. Okay? So like here's a D shape. So, and you can use these 3 fingers. Okay. So play that with me at the 12th fret, that little D shape right there, top 3 strings. It's actually a G chord, right? It's a D shape. I try to be real consistent with that. If I use the word shape, I'm talking about what it looks like, not what it is. If I use the word chord, then I'm talking about the actual harmony of it. Okay. So this is a D shape, but it's a G chord. Okay, here, play this E shape at the 4th fret. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I play slide 4th fret and just play those 3 strings, and that's an E shape, but it's a G chord. And then and then on the bottom, I end with a G shape. Okay, so play a G shape and just play the bottom 2 strings. Okay, so again, there's a G chord. Here's a G chord. Here's a G chord. I'm playing top 3 strings, the 5th, 4th, and 3rd string, and the bottom 2 strings. Okay. Now, so knowing what notes are, like knowing that that's the 3rd, and knowing that this is the 3rd, and knowing that this is the 3rd helps in this lick, because what I'm going to do is I'm doing a 4-3 suspension. In other words, I'm going to play the 4, and then I'm going to go to the 3, and I'm just going to go down the triad. See that? So if you take away this first note, I'm just playing, in other words, that triad, right? So play that 8, 7, 8, 7 on subsequent strings. Okay? And then just go down and do the same thing. Now notice, I mean, the fingering of it, you could you could do it a lot of different ways. I'm doing a lot of movement with the first finger. So the first finger's doing a lot of work. But all I'm doing is I'm doing a little G shape with a sus. And I'm doing it again here. And then starting to do it. If I had a 7th string, you know, down here, I could go down to the D note, but I don't. But that's nice because it ends on the root. So you wouldn't necessarily want to end a lick on the low 5th of the thing. So, but that would be a thing that would work really nice over a G chord. Now, normally I would probably go up to that G. Instead of going to that G, I might go up. Yes, Art, hitting that like button makes my day brighter. Indeed. We got a lot of likes. We actually a pretty good showing right now. Started out so slow, Holly. It was just you and me there for about 2 minutes. My knees hurt. And I like, but that's a way you could. I arrived at that riff, and maybe I got it off a record somewhere. I don't know. I don't remember if that was from a song somewhere. It could have been from some like Seals and Crofts song, or you know, I don't think John Denver. But my early influences were like the players that played with Seals and Crofts and John Denver and those kind of people. Beatles, obviously, but clearly that lick uses 3 of the 5 cage shapes, and so it's a really, for me, it's a really good example of how the cage shapes can interact with each other, how you use the cage shapes to create melodic ideas. So anyway, okay, so we've kind of reviewed all 5 of these shapes. Again, that's how you got the name CAGED. And know that if I start on A, okay, so the next day we did this. Look, we can see you can see the first diagram up there in the upper left-hand corner. It starts on a C shape in the kind of red. It looks orange to me, but anyway. And then the A form, and then the G form, and the E form, and the D form. I map them all out for you, so you can see how they're all right next to each other. It spells the word CAGED. It's like code. It's like a way. You can't spell many words with those 5 chords, but aged. Let's see. Caged, aged, age, ed, add. So we could probably have a little, like I could go, hey, do you see that new ad? We could communicate, kind of, like smoke signals, but with guitar shapes. We'd have a very limited vocabulary. Lena, sorry, let me see. I'm still slow for the relationship between the shape and the chord. Can you do that next week? 1 chord using different shapes. Well, we're going to do that right now, actually. You're going to do it. I'm not going to do it. You're going to do it. And you're like, well, I'm asking you to do it. No, but you're going to do it. So this is kind of what I took that. But my point here is that no matter what shape you start on, ultimately the letters, the chords shapes, the shapes on the fretboard are going to appear exactly in the same order. Whether you start on the A, the G, the E, or the D, it's still going to go C, A, G, E, D, or A, G, E, D, C, or G, E, D, C, A. It doesn't matter. It's going to stay in this order right here. Okay, from left to right. Whoops, that's really hard to do. Left to right. I'm saying one thing and doing another. Okay. So Lena, we're going to go back a page. We're going to go back to that other page, and I'm giving you an assignment. We're going to do an assignment now. This, if we were in a lesson together, you would do this. Okay. So see that C shape right there? Okay. You play it with these. If we were to, do the little bar chord thing, would this be? Where play, if we were to use that shape, the C form, okay, where would your first finger be barred? Again, we're going to be barred at top 3 strings, okay? Where would your first finger be barred if we were playing an E chord? So a C shape, but an E chord. Where would your first finger be? Okay, so figure that out. So in other words, you're going to take this shape, this C shape up, and here's C sharp, and here's D, and you do the rest. So, and I know there's a lag here. That's the drag. It's like at least 30 seconds. Hey, Louisiana Elevators. Long time no see. Salvador's here. Good to see you, Salvador and Marley. Baca B Kitty's here. Wow, what? No worries. It's no obligation to show up every week for our lesson. Yes, 4th fret. My knee hurts is the first one to get it right. Okay, so there's an E chord. Okay. Okay. Now if E is the 5th fret, right? Yep. So the E. So knowing where the roots are in these shapes doesn't hurt at all. Okay, because that would allow you to go. Oh, here's, if this is C, this is D, this is E. Oh, boom. Okay, there we go. Okay. All right. Same shape. We're going to stick with the C shape for one more iteration here. Okay. Where is the A chord? So we're going to use that C shape. We're going to slide it up the neck until we get to the A chord, and then you're going to know at least two different chords using the C shape. Well, 3 if you include C. So I'll just kind of chat mindlessly until someone jumps in. But again, I do know that that was like a 45-second delay from what you type to what I see. Actually, from my ask to your from the point of the time I ask to the time it shows up in my chat. So it shows up in your chat right away when you say something. So B Kitty is in the house. all the mods jump on her. Well, the pinky would be at the 12th fret, knee, but your first finger would be at the 9th fret. So here's the A. Yep, there you go. Or 9th, got it. Yeah, Steve Berry got it. And knees are, you were going by the root, so I get it. I should have restated what I was looking for here. But Lena, that's an A chord. Okay, so I'm thinking this is what you were asking. So in other words, if you start to, and again, you don't have to be able to play this, but to visualize this, to see this on the fretboard, to see A, C sharp, A, C sharp, E, there's your triad. When you see people sweep, actually you can hammer that on. All downstrokes. 5 downstrokes. Yeah. Usually if I'm going to do a sweep, I actually won't bar my first finger. Isn't that interesting? I feel like because that's one of those kind of flashy things. I don't really do them very often, but because I'm not very good at it. But they're so yeah, the A form was at the 7th fret, but I think because it's, for me, it's like it feels lighter. Like if I have a bar, I think for some bars, like if I do that sweep, I'm using the A form. I'm kind of combining the G form and the A form with the G. Then I do bar because it's 3 notes in a row on the same fret. But for this one, I think I jump it. Anyway, we're not talking about rakes. click playback speed. Speed up the play anywhere. Oh, on the video, can you adjust the speed on a live video though? You're talking about the user end or on my end? Okay. So, all right, so that's good. So the A form, let's find some A's. Okay, so here's the A form, or A shape, right? That's an A chord. A form and A chord, so, or A shape and A chord, so it's both. But this is an A shape, but it's a B flat. Okay, and I'm deadening right now. Okay. So if I were to play the A form, where would I have to play it to play a D chord using the A form? What fret would my first finger be at? Which would also be where the root is, and it's also where the bar is, where your finger is. So if I were to take this A and move it up to D, okay, A, B, C, D. D as in dog, what fret would you be at? No, not the 12th fret. Or are you talking about something else, Leo? Oh, yeah, the pinky was on the 12th fret, Leo. Yeah, on that one. But the bar was at for that C shape up to the A. Okay? So, in other words, there is a quiz on this. This is what you guys are getting a quiz. See, I have my mug. You can buy this. There won't be a quiz on this, is what I often say when I'm like adding information that's maybe a squirrel moment, maybe it's just a deeper dig moment, deeper dive moment. And I don't want you to worry about it. I'm like, don't worry about it. There's not going to be a quiz on that. So I say that all the time. This is a quiz. So, very good, Lena. I'm glad you got it. 5th fret. That's right. So they took that A shape and we went up like this. And in that, if you can visualize that as a D shape or D chord, it's an A shape D chord. There's all sorts of fun licks in there. I see the D mixolydian scale, which is really good over a D7 chord. See? So, and here's the other thing. Anything you do to the 5 open position shapes, anything you do to them transfers up the fretboard. And this is huge for the rhythm aspect of it, okay? So for example, this is A. This is A major 7. Okay? It sounds like Kiss Me, right? There's A7. Although I think it's over D. But anyway, here's A major 7. Okay, so that's A major 7. This is D major 7. All right, so that transfers. If this is A7, that also transfers. That's D7. Okay, if this is if I go A minor, then this is D minor. Okay, so all those suffixes go right along with the chord. I mean, there's some A7 chords, like if I do something like this, like A7 flat 9, that would be really difficult to do here. I can't even do it. But anything that you can do with like 2, 3 fingers in the open position, in the original position of any of these chords, you can pretty much transfer to the bar, and then all that stuff transfers. Okay, it's the same thing with capoing. If you capo at the 5th fret, all those suffixes all transfer. The prefixes all change, but the suffixes, the whatever's after the letter. So if it says C minor 6 or A minor 6 or whatever, that would all transfer. That's D minor 6. Now I can't really play it. It's a 5-finger chord at this point. But okay, now, but like I said, I mean, as soon as I'm in that position, I see all sorts of licks. Okay, I see all sorts of little things like that. It just is natural. Okay, so now we're still on A form. We're going to do another one of these, okay? What fret would you play the A form to get an F chord? Okay, this is the quiz. So I guess if you do a reverse sip, is that what Gary said? If you get a quiz, you have to do a reverse sip. I'm not doing a reverse sip. I don't know. Okay, so I'm just waiting for somebody to tell me what fret to play the F chord, and I'm so glad Lena got that one. It's huge, because that means I kind of. Yeah, A7. Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, I don't mind it, but this one's nice too. 8th fret, exactly right, Steve Barry. Okay, so here's because that's an F note. So if that's an F note, Lena got right. Excellent. Gary's on. Hey, Gary Book, how's it going? Same thing. So if I'm playing an F and I come up here. I don't know why I'm getting all like jazzy, but is it? I'm hearing a melody and I wasn't able to translate it. Gumball for Steve Barrett. Okay, let's go to the G form. Not expecting you to be able to play the shape, but I want to visualize it. So if we're playing G, and if this is G sharp, it's not G sharp. This would be G sharp or A flat. Okay, so you can tell me there's 2 right answers here technically, because I'm not sure what you're hearing or how you're thinking. If you're thinking about where the root is, because again on this G chord the root is right there. There's one of them anyway. You can either tell me the fret where that occurs or where the bar occurs. So I'm looking for a C chord. So a G form or G shape C chord. Where would you be on the fretboard? What fret would you be barring, or what fret would the bass note be at? There's 2 answers technically, and you've got a 2 in 12 chance of getting it right. 77 Sunset Strip. Oh yeah, that's very much like the TV show. I know I should write. See, that's what I think my song. If you haven't checked it out yet, if you go to Spotify, Apple, any of the streamers, Deezer, any of them, whatever, Amazon. If you go Tom Strahle, if you just enter Tom Strahle, it's the only song I'm gonna. It's called Question Mark, and it's a little gypsy jazz song that I wrote. So if you want to check that out, that would be awesome. And add it to a playlist. If you got a fun playlist or whatever, it's only like a 3-minute song. I've just mastered. I'm getting ready to upload Emma Louise. I think. Oh shoot! I've got to send her the graphics. She's going to do the graphic for it, I think. But let's see. Lena 5 is correct. 5/8. Steve Barry gave me both answers. My knee hurts 8. Yeah, that's right. So AJ, if you're tuned down a half step, then maybe you're right. but it should be. Here's the G form or G shape C chord. All right. Oh, B Kitty, I'm so glad you've been watching. And I know a lot of people. Hey, good karma's here. 8th fret, very good, Karma. So the root note is at the 8th fret. There's also a C here. So if you're, and I said this before, and again, these are the kind of things that I reiterate, and it's like, oh shoot, that's right. Light bulbs go on, and that's what I want. So 4 of these 5 chords have their roots on the bottom 2 strings. So the C. So if you learn all the notes up and down the fret on the bottom 2 strings. By default, you've also learned the top string because the outside strings are the same, right? They're both E strings. So if you know this is a G or this is a B flat or this is a C sharp, you also know this is a G, a B flat, and a C sharp. What did I play? I just played Smoke on the Water. What the heck? Okay. And if you know that, then technically you can find all but the D. The D shape is the only one. The C chord has its root. the C form has this root on the 5th string. The A form has its root on the 5th string. The G root has its root on the 6th string. The E form, or the E shape, has its root on the low E string as well. The D has the D. So then, okay, so then that's a challenge to you. To be able to find the D forms up and down the fretboard, it might be helpful to know the 4th string. And if you learn that, now you're almost done. You only have 2 more strings to learn, and then you know all the fretboard. And that's something that I recommend to everybody, particularly electric guitar players. I said, what's the most important thing you can learn on electric guitar? Like just one of the most important things is every note on the fretboard. With acoustic guitar, if you're not playing electric guitar, one of the most important things where people tend to fall short on acoustic guitar is strumming grooves. They tend to play every song with the same groove. So you need to learn a lot of grooves if you're going to be an acoustic guitar player. And I'm not talking about professionally. I'm just like, if you're going to sit at a campfire and play a lot of songs, every song shouldn't be. It's just boring. Okay. So if your primary focus is playing acoustic guitar, then learn a lot of strumming grooves. And we've talked about this. And if your primary focus is playing electric guitar, one of the first things you should do is learn your fretboard so that you can find a note anywhere on the fretboard, because that's really going to open up things for you. And particularly this kind of stuff, the CAGED method will really jump out. Okay. Yeah, you play 17, 20. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so I'm sorry. We probably got answers here. 8th fret. That's right, Leo. The root is on the 8th fret. And the bar would be at the, okay, you see that, Lena? So here's G shape and a G chord, same thing. Okay, here's the G shape, A flat, ugh, painful. Here's A, here's B flat, here's B, and here's C. Again, don't have to be able to play this. I want you to see it though. Can you see it? Just look at your fretboard, kind of visualize it. And if you visualize this, you've got 50% of this pentatonic scale. Oh, Leo, yeah, like gypsy jazz. I think of harmonic minors. So to want to sound gypsy, just hit the 6th and the 9th a lot. Okay, it's like. There we go. Gypsy jazz, I feel like it's almost more arpeggios, like 4-note arpeggios more than scales, but like. I think when you listen to my gypsy jazz song that I just mentioned, question mark, it's funny because I wrote that with, I wanted I wanted a really old-timey kind of melody sound, and I thought I wrote a melody I'd heard before. It was kind of like a couple things, but a little bit like On the Road Again, but not enough so that it was copied. Down, down, up, up, down. Yeah, that's my niece. That's the one I was playing. That's exactly right. All right. So very good. Okay, so you found the C. Okay, if C is at the, I'll keep it simple here. If C is at the 8th/5th fret, okay, where would D be? So we're playing a D chord using the G shape. And I don't want to lose Lena here. John Bratt loves guitar videos. Peace to you, too. Okay, Tony, you take off. Have fun. Vegan Steven, caged for life. Yeah, I don't know. That sounds weird. So we got a good showing here. Let's see. I think looks like our peak was 46. Is that right? 47. Wow. I'm impressed with myself. I'm no Rick Beato. So here was C. Okay, so has anybody said the answer yet? Okay, so this is C. Where's D? 10th root. Right, exactly right, Jack. Thank you. So the root is at the 10th fret. The bar is going to be at the 7th fret. Again, don't have to be able to play this, but if you can visualize it. That's not Benny Goodman. Who is that? Dun, 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 not Duke Ellington. Count Basie. That was his favorite little. But whenever I see this chord, I think of that lick. I do it every time. Very good, Lena. Lena got it 7th fret. That's right. Okay. So you got the major pentatonic. You know, again, when we talked about the G form here, is like here. Yep. There's the G form. Okay, in a random, well, they're not in a random place. This is technically A. You can see the diatonics there. I gave you 2 versions of the major diatonic. And then the major pentatonic you can see there. And if you, again, what did I tell you? I said, look, if you can visualize that G major shape up the fretboard, you have 6 of the 12 pentatonic notes on the fretboard there. So you technically have half of the pentatonic scale shape is already there. All right. So that kind of opens up things, opens up your fretboard if you see things that way. Okay, let's do the E form. Maybe the easiest one here, so I may give you a toughie for the first one. Okay, so here's E, playing E with this, and if we go here, there's F. Okay, our root is here. So whatever note that is, that's what kind of chord this is going to be. This is F. This is F. If this is F sharp, so on and so forth. Okay, give me a B flat. Where's B flat on the guitar fret board using the E form? And again, this is kind of in review of the last 7 weeks. So E shape, but I want a B flat chord. And we could see what we did. There's second week. I just kind of showed you how they all map out. It wasn't like a major lesson there. Very good, Sam. It's exactly right. Give yourself a cookie. Very good. And so here's the C form moved up. Here's the A form moved up. Here's the shape in the scales around it. Here's the G form moved up and the scales around it. Here's the E form moved up. See, this is the one we're talking about right now. And then here's the, okay, so I'll stay on this right here because we're on the E form, okay? Okay, so B flat, here's E, here's B flat. Smooth. It just sounds immediately like a Radiohead song to me. I love Radiohead. Don't know. It's not like that's not a disparaging thing. Oh, Radiohead's all tritones. No, but that's a tritone. I don't know. It just sounds like a Radiohead song. Okay, so that was B flat. Okay, this might be a tougher one for some of you, but let's try. Where's D? So we're going down a whole step. Which is, you could, if you want, you could tune all your strings down a whole step and play an open E shape, and you'd have a D chord. But we're trying to visualize the. that would be a silly move to make, but we're trying to visualize the E form up and down the neck. So we got the B flat right here at follow the bouncing Coke, the bouncing Coke can, the bouncing Starbucks cup. See, they should be paying me, right? Starbucks should sponsor this show. I'm going to have to hit them up for that. They are literally in every episode of my show. And I'm paying for this. This should be free, at least. Ah, very good. You guys are getting faster. 10th fret, that's right. And you know, I love bar chords on acoustic. Sometimes they just kind of sound aggressive. Just, I don't know why it makes me think of the Kinks, but it just sounds like bratty, you know? How about that bass? Good OG chord or something. So, yeah, 22. Steve Barry, what are you smoking? Lena got it right. Thank you. I'm so glad. Lowest usable acoustic strings. Lowest usable. I'm not sure what that question means. You mean like lowest priced, or for lowest guitar, like on my baritone? They actually make baritone acoustic strings. Not many baritone acoustics out there. I have one, but they're not. They're pretty rare. I don't know, Corey Wavell. Yeah, I generally use 13s on top, so I'm using mediums now. I kind of like the sound of them. But usually, before that, I would use lights, which were 12s. And I think these may be 12s. I mean, for the lightest. Yeah, I mean, you could use 10s would be the lightest. The 10 is the gauge on top. That would be pretty thin sounding. I actually have, I used to have my Taylor with lights, extra light. Those are called extra lights, which is funny because they really need to rename all strings, right? Because like with electrics, it's pretty much what 9, 10s, and 11s, you know. So if you order lights, it's extra light, light, and medium, and it should be light, medium, and heavy. You know, just move the names over. But heavy on electric, you go to 12 or 13 or whatever, but then they'll call them super heavies or something. But so there's on acoustic guitar, extra light tends to be 10 on top. I don't know what the bottom is. I forget. I just always remember the top. Lights tend to be 12 on top, and 13s tend to be, mediums tend to be a 13 on top. So, and those generally are the three most popular gauge boxes that people buy. You know, some people may go up to 14 on top or something. I don't even know of any sets like that. Some maybe put a 9 on top of acoustic, but on acoustic, no. It's pretty much those three sets. And I use elixirs because, for many, many reasons, because they're quieter, because they have coating on. In fact, I ordered the nano web, and I forget that the poly web is actually really quieter, but it's a little messier when it starts to wear off, and it's darker sounding. But that's okay, because strings, when you put like any set on, like if you put Ernie Balls on, they're super bright at first, but then my sweat just makes them dead. So within an hour of playing on them, they're already dead. So I might as well start there and then have that tone, and then I'll adjust the microphone and the EQs and all that stuff to accommodate the deadness of new elixirs, which isn't that dead. In fact, the nano webs are pretty bright, and they stay pretty bright. The poly webs are a little darker sounding because the coating is thicker. So there's less, there's more coating in the grooves, and that means less squeak, okay? Because that's what causes the squeak on you. You don't generally squeak. You get a high pitch sometimes if they're rusty on the top strings, but on the bottom strings is where you get the squeaks, especially on nylon. Unfortunately, they stopped making the nylon strings. Oh, yeah, there's a guitar missing there, isn't there? Oh, I got a new guitar. Where is it? You guys haven't seen my new guitar, have you? Okay, everybody take a sip. Let me see if I can find it. I forget where I put it. My wife put it somewhere, I think. Anyway, take a sip. I'll be right back. I'm going to show you the new guitar. Kind of a guitar. This thing is crazy. Sorry about that. Yeah, everybody take a sip. This thing is crazy. So this is called a kumbus. Kumbus. I'll spell it here at the risk of getting an R rating here, but oops. There we go. It's a cool instrument. It's a cool story. So basically, it's like a fretless 12-string banjo. So I could tune it like an oud, but the standard tuning for a kumbus is very different than an oud, so I'm trying to get used to it. But that's pretty much a tune. That's cool. It's fretless, though. So again, I'm... see what was it? So what was that? And I was doing some fun stuff. Yeah, banjo bends. And it's doubled strings, so they're not octaves, they're just doubles. So it's really only 6 courses is what you say when you have... So a 12-string guitar is 6 courses. So you don't... It's not like you're playing 12 individual strings. You're playing 6 pairs of strings. Yeah, it's a no-stick pot, exactly. Yeah, and if you get hungry, you can just fill it. You can just put it out over the fire and cook dinner in it. So it's cool. The guy's name is here, Zainal Abidin Kumbus, and it's a Turkish instrument, Istanbul, and he invented this thing in 1930. So. He invented it because he wanted kind of a poor man's oud. He wanted people to be able to have an oud, which was, of course, the instrument that so many people, it was like the main stringed instrument in Turkey and in Arabia and stuff. And he had a weapon factory. He made arms, and he wanted to, the war was over, whatever war it was, and I'm not a big Turkish history buff, but he wanted to turn his arms factory into a tool for peace. So he decided to make musical instruments instead of weapons. And he thought music could be the source of, would be a tool for peace, could be used for peace. But yeah, I was trying to do banjo licks on it. I love that. It sounds like you got like those tuners on there. So anyway, yeah, so I'm probably going to actually, let's see, kind of made room for it here. Yeah, kind of fits there. It's like, what the heck is that? So I'm probably going to get some comments like, what the heck is that thing? What's there with the black banjo? So anyway, that's a kumbus. Beale's girl riff. Oh, that thing. Oh, yeah, that would sound kind of cool on that, wouldn't that, Jake? I know what you're talking about now, the little, the B section. I'd have to work it up. I don't want to work it up in front of you. That's boring. Okay, so we have one more shape to go through. So we took the E shape, we found C, and we found D. Let's take the last shape, which was D, the CAGED method, right? Okay, so like I was playing at the beginning of the video, Chicago just took this song up, this chord up there. It's so weird. It's just like "Wishing You Were Here." It's a song by Chicago. The background. It's such an odd song, and then it kind of goes. You know, it was a hit. Kind of weird. You know, it's got to be one of the weirdest songs. Oddest harmony I've ever heard in a song. You know, Rick Beato should do a, you know, I wonder if he's ever done Chicago, what makes the song great. I mean, one of my favorite guitar players, probably one of my biggest influences was Terry Kath. I mean, the first live band I ever had did all Chicago tunes. And so the D form here we have here, okay? The root note is on the D string and also on the B string. So if you can find the note we're looking for, here we did F, so this is an F, you know, F major pentatonic, or D minor pentatonic, or F major, F major scale. If you can find this note, this note, or this note, okay. So let me, I'll keep it easy for the first one. Okay, let's find me the G chord using the D shape, okay? And you can tell me either where the three fingers are or where the root is on the fourth string, either one, okay? And I'll wait for your reply. D minor form, yeah, right. D minor form is what that kind of was there. I didn't mark the roots though. Let's see if my viewership went up or down when I walked away and left a blank screen. Yeah, it pretty much went up. I should just sign in and just walk away and see how I do. That would be hilarious. You know, I could probably do that, and you guys would just show up and chat the whole time, and I would make money. You know, and then I'd forget it was on, and I'd come here and pick my nose. Or cuss or something. Or like practice some song that's like really weird, or I don't know. Yep. Very good. Fifth fret on the D string. Very good. Knees hurt. Steve Barry said fifth. That's right. Yep. 5 root. Sam, you said it too. Sorry. No, 10 would be. That would be. In fact, I was going to do that. That's C. But now I'm not going to do that because I just gave it away. So fifth fret. Okay. Let's do B flat next. So that. Did Lena? Yeah, Lena got it right too. Yay. And 17. Yeah. If you're on electric guitar, you can do 17. That's fine. So again, if you're at the fifth fret, we're key G. So when I do bluegrass stuff with Alex, you know, or when we're goofing around on the bluegrass, and I have a song that I have a bluegrass song that I'm writing that may be the next track that I release. Emma Louise is the next one, but after that, I may do a bluegrass thing that I wrote on banjo, or on banjo, Steve Barry. You already had. Okay, B flat. That's right. Very good, Steve. But so in G, and this song that I wrote, of course, is in G, like all good bluegrass songs. Goes basically G, D, and then G, D. But when we're jamming over the G chord, I may often go up to this shape. Okay, right? There's this. Here's G. Here's G. Here's G. Okay. But I might see that because I like that little B flat to the B natural, the flat third to the third. If I was doing George Benson, I might hit that fifth up there. That I'm more visualizing the C form. But this one, the thing about the D form and the C form, you'll notice that they kind of overlap on each other, right? Remember this very second lesson when I had to figure out a way to do I was trying to do a half and half dot red and half dot purple, but I couldn't figure out how to do that, so I did two dots kind of offset from each other. So you can see in 4 of the 5 diagrams, the C and the D are kind of like right there, offset from each other. You know, they're really on top of each other, unlike any of the others. So, so when you're visualizing the D form, you're often going to find yourself visualizing or kind of playing in the C form as well, because they're right. But I might do something like, right? Something look like that, where I'm just sliding up, like I'm sliding up to the 7th fret on the 3rd string, sorry, and then hitting the 6th fret on the 2nd string, and then I'm ultimately going to the root, but getting that dominant 7th, kind of get that bluesy sound. I mean, you put the blues in bluegrass, right? Now, my bluegrass song that I wrote is actually going to be, it's 4/4, but then there's a bar of 3, or you can think of it as a bar of 7 if you go add the 4/4 and the 3/4 together. I think of it as a bar of 3. But it's a little riff that I came up with a long time ago on mandolin. That okay, I'm leaving the room again because I want the view count to go up. Hold on. All right, so I got my little cheap mandolin here, my little cheap Fender mandolin. Would love to upgrade and get a good mandolin, but not cheap. Out of tune. That's basically, and then it's going to go. I can't remember. Something like that. I can't remember the lick that I got out of it. I have to figure that out. Sip time. Okay, so I got a question. Bruce, John Brett loves guitar. If you're doing mostly jazz guitar, would B flat be important? Oh, heck yeah. And there's a reason why. So the root note of a given shape is also the root note of the next shape of this. Sam, let's see. I don't see. The root note of a given shape is also the root note of the next shape in the CAGED order. I don't know. You mean from this diagram? No. Well, yeah. I mean, I can see where you would say that. Yeah, you can see definitely if you look at like the second, well, even the first chart, you can see the C shape and it goes to A shape. But if you look at the root note, the middle note of that A shape there at the 5th fret, the blue notes, that's the same as the C. And look, there's the G shape, and then that's the root of the, so on. So, but yeah, there's a lot of interconnectivity for the shapes as they go up in the same. So in other words, so for example, for Lena, like that first diagram right here, sorry, the very first one, I wish I could point to it, but it's you can't get to it. That C shape, that A shape, that G shape, those are all C chords. Every one of those are C chords. The next one, those are all A chords. The next one over, to the right, the middle one of the top 3, that blue, those blue notes, that's an A triad. The green notes, that's A. The yellow notes, those are A's. It's an A triad there. Same with the purple and the G and C. So those are all. When they're all laid out in the same key, they're going to look like this every time. I mean, you can see the pattern. Look at the first diagram, look at the three yellow notes. Look at the next diagram. Oh, look, diagonally. You could draw a line diagonally through those the E form. See that? The E form's at the 9th fret, then it's at the 6th fret, then it's at the 4th fret. You can see it, boom, diagonally go up the fretboard. You can even see it down below on the bottom too. So those shapes stay everywhere. Now, mandolin, totally different. I don't even know if there's CAGED on it. I couldn't tell you if there's CAGED method on the mandolin. So sweet. I'm glad you got that. That's awesome, Lena. And I don't mean to pick on you. It's just you're so engaging. So no, I just want to make sure. So yeah, so this I love triads, obviously. But it's a bar of 3 in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. There. I didn't realize I was doing it. I had no idea that there was a bar of 3 in there until I started to lay down the rhythm track for the song. Because I want to make it my next recording. I think it's going to be my next recording. So I wrote all the music for our wedding. It was solo classical guitar, but it was like 7 pieces, I think 6 or 7 pieces. And then I hired my college professor to play it for our wedding. So I may either record the entire suite of music and make that one piece. I'm not sure. Some of the pieces are fairly long, so they might have to be individual. So maybe I'll make it. See, it gets into the tough thing of, okay, this is now an album, and then I'm like, oh, I could do this better. Although the pieces are not particularly difficult, I'll probably have to really woodshed them before I record them. And I'm probably going to want to, if I'm going to do them, I'm probably going to want to record them all at the same time so that sonically, I'm not like, oh, the mic's in a different position, or the preamp I forgot and set it different, so that I don't want them to sound different. They should sound like they were recorded at the same time. This diagram's a little weird looking here. Make this a little bigger. All right. So let's see. Okay, let me just let's see what we got. Pesky. Yeah. So exactly. Who asked me about B flat? Was that you, Whitson? Somebody asked me about B flat. Jazz. Yeah, oh yeah, B flat is you would almost start at B flat. How have I not gotten to 100? I know it's slowed way down, Whitson. Okay, so at the beginning of COVID, when I started doing these live streams, my numbers were going up. I mean, my revenue went up. I mean, it was a lot more than it is now. But I was live streaming every day, and a lot of people had nothing much going on. And I think I was getting 50 or 60 people every day watching or something. The thing is that I thought, well, the projections would actually, at that point, if I were looking at, I was getting like 2,500 new subscribers every month. Now I'm slightly under 800 a month, or 800 every 28 days. So where am I at? I'm almost to 97. So yeah, I don't think I can get to 100 before the end of the year. I just don't think it's going to happen. 770 in the last 28 days. And you lose some too. And then YouTube will go through and they'll get rid of subscribers that have no activity. So, or spam ones. I don't really have a lot of spam subscribers though. Some people do that because you can pay for those. They have people in Indonesia that are, paid 2 cents an hour to create 1 billion Google accounts so that you want 100,000 subscribers. Okay, no, I haven't. I've never paid to get subscribers. So all of my subscribers are pretty legit. But I'm always fine when YouTube kind of pares it down because the more legitimate people interested in what I'm teaching and talking about that I can reach, the better. So And I'm sure almost all of those, very, very, very small percentage, present company excluded, have notifications turned on for my videos. Now I do have a new video. If you go to the Discord link, which I have there, I posted it there already. You can check it out. I'm going to do a follow-up video on it. So the next video I'm going to do is going to be on box shapes. But the video I did, I'm going to duplicate. Hold on a second. Duplicate. So if I call this cage 7. No, we have cage 7. Cage 8. Technically. Okay. Oh, good. All right. So I'm going to remove this. Yes. I'm going to remove this. I'm not going to. Yes. Okay. So this is a diagram that I did for. Let me get it in the right place first, and then. Live stream stuff. All right. Downloads. And this is a diagram that appears in my new video I created. I kind of like this. It looks cool. I think it looks good. Okay. So these are the 5 shapes, and I didn't mention this because I didn't really think about it when I did the video. But okay, John, thank you, Bruce. I'll check John's question here in a second. But you could also visualize the pentatonic shapes, and these are the 5 pentatonic shapes that I talk about in my new video. You could visualize them just by seeing those walls, the vertical notes. Okay, like memorize that, and then this, and then this, and then you've got this one that's not really playable. What is it? This, like this, and then this one. You know, you could actually technically, you know, see things like you could kind of memorize it with those shapes going across the fretboard like this, instead of individual shapes. I still think the individual shapes make a lot more sense. But okay, so Bruce tells me that John has a question. The higher pitch notes on the shape of the lower pitch notes on next strings series. Let's see, the higher pitched notes of the shape are the lower pitched notes for the next adjacent shape in the CAGED series, like kind of like that. Yeah, in fact, that's what I just mentioned here, didn't I? Yeah, I mean, you definitely can connect them that way if you look at these. So what John's saying is kind of like the highest. Like if you look at, I don't even know lowest position like fret wise. So if you look at the 5th fret on that first one, you got those 3 blue notes. But that would be the bar of the G shape, but it's really the A shape. So the bar of the G shape is the same as the 3 fingers on the A shape. The bottom note of the G shape is the same as the bottom note of the E shape. But yeah, so anything you can do to help you find, any ways you can think about it to help you find it. If it works for any key here, it works for all the keys. It's all very transposable. And like I say many times in my new video, is that anytime you learn a scale that doesn't have open strings, a new scale shape or whatever, you've not learned one scale, you've learned 12, because on the guitar you can just move it up and down. So peace out, John Bratt. Oh, when I play jazz harmonica, I have to play, yeah. So the reason B-flat's an important key for jazz is because for trumpet players and tenor and soprano sax players, B-flat is for them like playing in the key of C. But one of the ways you can remember it is like you really don't want to play in the key of E. You know, like E is a great guitar's key, you know, rock and roll and stuff like that. And horn players, you know, play in rock bands. You know, like the Rolling Stones do a lot of songs in G, a lot of songs in, I don't know, they do E songs in E. But if you do a song in E, that means that the trumpet player and the tenor player, they're going to be in F sharp. So it's just like, what? You know, and if we're stuck in, you know, if they're doing B flat, hey, that's great. That's only 2 flats. B flat's easy for them. But that puts us in A flat. So we got 4 flats. So it's just the way the instruments are transposed. So let's see. Yes. Oh, the caged diagrams. I will. I thought about it. Oh, actually, on my video, there's this one. I think here is. I think I put it. So if you go to my new video, let me give it to you. It's set to unlisted, just so you know. Okay. So once I post it, this link until it's once I set. So I had it set unlisted, and then I shared it on Discord so that again, two reasons: one, to get eyes on it, and to give the people on the Discord the first look at a new video. So it's kind of like being in a private club. Okay, that's why you want to join the Discord. No worries, John. And then the other reason is to get if you guys can help me. Like, did I really brain fart on it? And it like, oh man, I can't believe I talk about something and it's not sitting there next to my face or whatever, you know. So the link for this right now is good, but once I decide to schedule it, and I'm going to schedule it for noon on Thursday, I think, to be released to public. Once I do that, this link won't work until it becomes public. Then it will be. And Elena, I'll give you a trick you can do for memorizing. It's kind of my MO throughout my entire life. Write a song using them. Write a song using all the shapes. Like write a melody that you memorize using all the shapes. And it may be something as simple as that sus4 triad thing. You know the. There's your song. And you just memorize, you saw this shape, this shape, this shape, and you saw this shape, and this shape. Oops, sorry, that one again. So, and it's a little teeny little song, or what you could do is you could do it in G and then go to D or something. So you have in two keys. You go. Oops, sorry, I messed up. Something like that. Make up a song using the shapes, and then they'll start to like feel natural. If you have something that you can practice, if it's rote memorization, and I've never been really good at that. I think girls are better at that than guys, to be honest, and to be misogynistic. But I guess is it misogynistic if you're saying girls are better than boys? But I always felt like girls were like Beth could memorize anything. It's like, golly, it just like drives me crazy. You know, she can memorize so much stuff, and I'm like, my brain won't work that way. It's like there's some actual literal psychological thing that a guy has that when he opens the fridge, he can't see any food in there. He'll open a fridge and he can't see anything to eat. He'll see the food, but he can't see anything to eat. It's the weirdest thing. It's like, the first time you open a fridge, you look in and you go, and maybe true for everybody, but I think the study showed that men had a higher propensity for this. The first time they look in a fridge, they're like, no, and they shut it, and then they open it again. They go, oh yeah, there's lasagna, which is what I'm having for lunch, by the way. The G shape never feels natural, no, but it reveals some great shapes scale wise. Okay, so Monday. So I haven't really. See, I didn't know how my word. Oh, to word your question, yeah. Yeah, and like I said, everyone's kind of looking for that magic bullet to like unlock the guitar. And to be honest, it's true for every skill. I don't care if it's accounting or if it's guitar playing or tennis. It's just do it a lot gets you better. So the more you play, the more you try to work on things. And for me, it's creating something. Make up my own exercise. Like I said, it does many things. It works the skill that the very, very specific skill that you're trying to work on, rather than like using going through some book that's going to take you through, all these steps, and it's like daunting. You get, 10 pages in, and you don't ever open that book again, or but when I create something that's specifically like when I wrote Emma Louise, I wanted a fingerstyle song that was in standard tuning, okay, and I wanted something that was happy and quirky, like my daughter. God bless you, Lena. It was happy and quirky like my daughter, but also I needed to work on my pull-offs, and I was wanting to do pull-offs. I didn't want grace notes. I wanted pull-offs that were in time, and so I wanted to create an exercise. So I ended up with. And so I'm releasing that song soon. In fact, I've already had it mastered. I've got to send today. I'm going to send the image for Emma. Thank you, Art, and thank you, John. Very very good. I hope I've cleared it up and not made it foggier. I tend to make things more okay. Hopefully, I make things clear. I've been teaching this stuff forever. So this is sorry. This is the diagram for my new video, and these will all be available. I think I actually uploaded it and created a Dropbox link so you can download this image for free. And the colored notes are the blue notes are the minor roots in those scales. So if you play blue note to blue note, it's a minor pentatonic, and if you play red note to red note, it's a major pentatonic. Okay. In this case, it's A minor and C major. Right? They're the same exact notes. They just start on different notes. And we've talked about pentatonic shapes before. I've just never done a 5-shape. I did one video on your first pentatonic scale, and I didn't do so. I think people are liking that. I don't know if anybody else has watched it. Let me refresh this. But I've only got 8 views, which is fine because it's not public or anything like that. And Holly, God bless her, gave me 1 million. Okay, there's 11 views now. Holly, God bless her, gave me 1 million notes. But good notes, and it was funny because some of them were like, I do the same thing. Oh, I made a note, and then you said the very thing that, the very thing that I just said. Or I said you should say. You just said. So it was pretty funny to read your comments. I thought they were spot on. So I don't know that I'm going to change it. It does go blurry a little bit when I'm using the camera really close. I really try to keep it focused, and that's the reason those are actually, each of those shapes are individual recordings because I had to redo a couple of because I didn't want to do the whole video and have the middle of it be all like jacked up and then have to redo the whole thing. So I was doing it in little chunks so that each shape has its own little video on my end for editing purposes. And that way, if I looked at the video and went, oh shoot, it went blurry. Well, I missed that one. And it just went blurry for like maybe 5 seconds. And you can still see where my fingers are. And you got the diagram didn't go blurry because the diagram's laying on top of the video. So, so oh, somebody sent me money via PayPal. Who did that? Wait, who called? Don't know who you are. So what's that? Oh, Steve Barry, thank you so much. And actually, yeah, the nice thing about the PayPal sent notification, is that I get 100% of that, whereas I get 70% of what you guys can hear. So my PayPal is just, how did you get that? Because I think that's my real email address, which is fine. I don't mind it getting out there, but you know, try not to encourage spam or a lot of emails. Yes, the videos, that's exactly what it's called. Yeah, you could, yeah, that's it. That's the video, Sam. And you can view it. It should not, let's see. If I go to my channel, well, see, if I go to my channel, I'm logged in, so it'll show it. But John and Lena, I'm totally fine with you sending them through YouTube. I'm fine with YouTube making money on. They make this possible, so I don't have a problem with them making money. They make plenty of money. Google makes lots of money. In fact, it's one of the stocks I'm sure I have, you know, a percentage of Google in all of the any mutual funds I might have. Although I don't have a whole lot of mutual funds right now. It's mostly just individual stocks. But I'm sure I own some Google, so I probably benefit there slightly as well. The chart is in that chart is in Dropbox. So I did include a link in there, and I could, because there's lots of images. I could include. I could have Holly create a tip. You know what I need to do is I actually need to monetize that somehow. I think I can, like, if I created a whole chart for it, I could upload it to Etsy, I think, and people could go there and buy it. And I created a Etsy business account, but I haven't done anything with it yet. So, yeah, Joseph, exactly. You do something over and over again until it just becomes natural, until you can do it and talk at the same time. See, I don't know about that. The Kumba's sitting there. They look so short. It's funny now, but these are mostly instruments that I do not have cases for. Oh, I've got a case for the baritone, but I use the baritone a lot. I do not have a case for the fretless. I don't have a case for that. I do have a case for the telly, but it's in the other part of the house. I don't have a case for the Epiphone. I have a soft gig bag for that. I don't have a case. No, I see, most of those do not have cases. That's kind of why they're in. And I got a bunch of guitars over in a guitar boat over here, too. I'm thinking about putting walls up there. I kind of wanted to put on this wall you can't see. I mean, I guess I could turn see that wall there. You can't see. You can see my balalaika, but and there's the guitar boat. On that wall, I kind of was wanting to put like 8 black and white photos of me and the family in Europe and stuff, you know, like do black and white versions of pictures I took of Europe and have, you know, those up there and stuff like that. So I don't know. Do you have? Yeah, you don't have to knit to be on Etsy. No, Etsy's cool. That's where I get some of the weird world instruments. Like I got these on Etsy, the Tumbi. Okay, I'll Missy Elliott, and then the Gobushan. Those are from India. Those I got on Etsy, pretty cheap too. So I probably overpaid for them, but it's fine. I maybe fed a family of 4 for like a month or something. I don't know. Yeah, it's a kumbas. Yeah, and we're gonna get an R rating for that. That's the worst name for an instrument ever. Almost the worst. Yeah, there's a word I could say of there's an actual woodwind instrument that's called the F word for homosexual, and I couldn't say that on this and not have my video taken down, and maybe even get a strike against my account or something like that. But it's a legitimate instrument, and I was asked in a bar if I knew what that instrument was, and realized shortly, within about a minute after that, that he was trying to pick me and my father up. My dad and I were together, and he was trying to pick us both up. I'm like, really? It's like, oh my gosh. Yeah, the hurdy-gurdy I haven't ordered, and the place I want to get it from is like a 2-year wait or a 1.5-year wait. I keep thinking I'm going to stumble on one, That would be kind of cool, to just kind of find a one. I mean, I could get like a $700-800 one in Europe. There's a guy that makes them in, I think, in the Czech Republic or Ukraine, and they looked okay. The what was it? The melody notes didn't. When I was watching the videos demonstration of the hurdy-gurdy is this thing you crank, and it's got like violin strings in this wheel that is maybe stone. No, it can't be stone. What is it? Maybe it is stone. It's a wheel, and it creates a lot of drones. It's very old school. It actually predates the organ in churches. They used to use giant ones to do hymns. Well, not hymns necessarily. Back then it would have been like, which makes sense. Gregorian chant is also very drone-like. But you can have different strings ring out. You can remove and add strings just by lifting them off of this thing. And you turn it, and then you play it like a piano. So I have a feeling it would be like, ooh, I would be really sore playing it. But it's really cool. You look up hurdy-gurdy, and it's, and of course there's the famous song Hurdy-Gurdy Man from the 60s. Donovan, I think. Sting's Hurdy, yeah. Oh, by the way, if you're looking for something fun to watch, Beth and I have been watching, Ted Lasso, for one thing. You got to watch Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso is great. And it's funny, my favorite character on Ted Lasso has got to be Beard. But there's another show. Sting is in it actually, and it's Selena Gomez, Steve Martin, and Martin Short, and it's Murders in the Building. It's very cute. It's actually very British feeling. It feels like it all takes place in New York. It feels very British-like. So if you're looking for a good series to watch, and the episodes are short, they're like less than 30 minutes long, like typical sitcom kind of length. I'm pretty sure they're less than 30 minutes because an episode ends and we're like, wow, that was quick. And they're dropping, like they drop on Monday. So today's a new episode. Yeah, Ted Lasso's great. Ted Lasso is a classic example, and I think it's going darker in second season. I'm not a spoiler alert, but if you watch the first season, you kind of had to know that it was going to get, because Hollywood loves the anti-hero, and it's something I don't really like about Hollywood, but film is very manipulative. I mean, everything about a movie is designed to manipulate you, especially documentaries. 100% with documentaries, but dramas, all this stuff. The music is designed to manipulate you, to move you in a certain way. The lighting is designed to move you in a certain way. The dialogue, the setting, the acting, everything is designed to get an emotional response from the audience, which is exactly how it should be. It's the beauty of the art form. The thing is, Hollywood loves what's called the anti-hero. They love you rooting for, like, they'll have the worst person in the world, and it's all projection on their part because they probably think, oh, I'm the worst person in the world, but they're like, oh, but I need love. So they get you to like, by the end of the movie, you're rooting for this person you hated at the beginning of the movie. You're like, why would I like this person? And they love to do that, and so Ted Lasso flies in the face of that. Hulu is where that Murders in the Building is. So if you haven't watched it, and Steve Martin and Martin Short, I thought that was going to be a little hammy. Not Steve Martin's a pro. Martin Short is a pro, but he does skew hammy. He actually does skew hammy, but that's his shtick. Steve Martin has been hammy. That was his whole routine when he started doing stand-up comedy. I will watch Steve Martin's routines, on Johnny Carson and stuff. I love, that we had his comedy records that we used to listen to in the car on the way to church. I mean, the kids know him. His first two records backwards and forwards. But it actually doesn't, they don't come off that way at all. So actually, I was surprised. First episode actually was really, really good. So, you love hammy. See, hammy is just like, it makes me sad, because it's like, oh, you're just trying to get attention. I've worked with enough actors, and I've been in rooms, I've done musicals and stuff, and so afterwards, when you're all done, you have the big party. The musicians all hang out in the corner, and they're all like smoking and drinking, and the actors are all like one-upping each other all night long, and musicians are just sitting there going, really? So I kind of like, if I see someone who's intentionally being hammy because they're just trying to get everybody, they're trying to be the life of the party or whatever, it kind of drives me crazy. And yet here I am being hammy for you guys for 2 hours every Monday. You're like, Tom, look in a mirror. So you only watch old movies. Yeah, there's tons of movies in that era. But Ted Lasso is a good guy. And the first episode, he's just like, you fall in love with the guy, and you're like, I identify with a Ted Lasso. In fact, my first screenplay I ever wrote, I had somebody send it off to be to get coverage, and the coverage means some generally unsuccessful Hollywood person reads it and writes a review of it. So they're already bitter before they even read page one, okay? But they hated it. They gave it straight Fs. It was my first screenplay. And I didn't even have the right software. I was literally typing it in Microsoft Word, and hated it. And the thing he hated most about it was that there was no tension with the main character. It's like his life was too good, and why would we? And I'm like, there was tons of tension with the character, but the character was kind of based on me. And the whole movie, the hour and a half drama, was based on plagiarism, which Hollywood's never done a movie on plagiarism because they don't want to, because you know why. They don't want to point fingers in that direction. So that's why I wrote it, was because I felt like there was something that they've never spoken on, and those tend to be the most powerful things. And the reason I wrote it was because I had a friend at church that she was the assistant to the head of film at Universal Pictures, and we were talking about movies and how at the time, particularly even now, everything was derivative or a sequel or a prequel or some TV show, or some 70s TV show like SWAT that they made into a movie, or the A-Team or whatever. And it's like, oh my gosh, can we get an original thought up here? And I said, I had a lot of story ideas. And she goes, yeah, sure you do. And I told her one of the stories that I had, and that was one of them, this story about plagiarism. And she goes, wow, that's a great story. Have you written a script? You should write a treatment on that. And I go, what's a treatment? I didn't know what a treatment was. I've told this story before, I think, but so she told me what a treatment was, basically like a 7 to 5 page synopsis. And I did that, and I created because one of the problems, the issues I had with film, and we talked about, was I said the dialogue is so unrealistic. It sounds like you would never say you might say the right thing once or twice in an hour and a half time frame, but you wouldn't say the perfect thing to say every time. And sometimes I like that in a show. There was a great TV show called Sports Center, I think, Sports Night. And I think it only lasted one season, mainly because they took all the writers and they used them on West Wing. So they canceled that show so they could start West Wing. And but it was like boom, boom, boom. The dialogue was like dim, 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 dim. And it was fun. You had to really pay attention. It was fun, but it was completely unrealistic. There's no way people would be that on top of dialogue back and forth, And so I always felt like, I felt like, here's some dialogue examples I wrote and I said, this is more realistic, like how people really talk. And she was blown away by it. And so she said, hey, you should try to write a script. And I go, wow, I've never written a script. And that night I wrote 20 pages, sent the PDF to her the next morning, and she's in the office and she reads it and she goes, I hate you. She goes, I've been trying to write a script for 10 years and I've only got to page 20. And you got to page 20 in one night? And I said, yeah, I got 20 pages is about 20 minutes of movie, basically. Unless the first sentence is big battle scene from World War II. If that's the first, that page might take longer than a minute. So, so I actually finished the thing by Saturday. So I'd written 120 pages in 6 days. I wrote 20 pages a night for 6 days. Yeah, see, Home Before Dark. I'll have to check that. I think I started watching that one. Is that the one with the kids solving the mystery? Is that Apple TV? Is that the one with the little kid is solving the mystery? Yeah. Oh, so the murders in the building. No, Martin. Martin Short can do that. He can really be kind of hammy. But just so you know, Holly, they dig deeper into the characters, and there's a lot more depth to Martin's character than it shows at first. So, in fact, they've revealed so much throughout the series. Everybody's far deeper than you know at first. And so that's it's the peeling of the onion thing, which is great. That's the beauty of episodic television that writers and they love because they can just take their time with the story. And that's kind of what this movie's about. So the clickety clack of the 8-track, 8-track tape would change flip sides 4 times. It would have to click 4 times before you heard the whole album, right? I'm not sure why they ever thought 8-track tape was a benefit. Sometimes it would flip on the middle of a song, like whipping post. Well, that's exactly right. Witsend. I didn't see your comment there, but yeah, it's right, exactly. It's not a new thing. You are rooting for the monster and Frankenstein, so Shelley definitely may be the first to utilize, and a classic example of the anti-hero. But Hollywood just loves the anti-hero, and I'm not opposed to it. But I tend to find Christian allegory in everything I watch. I'm like, do they realize, like, in Owen Meany, Prayer for Owen Meany, like, he hates Christians, the writer, I forget who the writer is. And yet he wrote one of the most beautifully allegorical Christ-like figure in Owen Meany. It's like the most amazing story. And it just tells you how innate that is in us, that we need to do that. So I'm a clever man, Mr. Strahle. Yeah, hardly. Foundation is on Apple TV. Yeah, they've been advertising the crud out of Foundation. So I don't know. And I kind of like sci-fi. Foundation's a sci-fi thing. And I've got Apple TV. I'm paying for it because of Ted Lasso. We watched, it was okay. It was very, very hammy. But the Schmigadoon, which is also on Apple TV. And it's only 6 episodes, I think. So the whole thing ends in 6 episodes. Or maybe it was 8. Used to have a Superman costume at 5. Yeah, exactly. Superman's the hero. They didn't go deep in... See, Batman's a good anti-hero, right? Batman's got a very dark history, although there's so many versions of Batman, and then the new movie's called The Batman. It's coming out next year, and it's with the guy that was in the vampire movies a few years back. So, yeah, it is totally innate. Yeah. Well, I mean, Pascal said there's a God-shaped vacuum in every man's heart, and they're trying to fill it with something. And so that's true for people that are creating. I mean, I believe in God, and I believe that God is very creative. I look at this earth, I look at the plants, I look at the animals. I'm sorry, but some of those animals are pretty freaking crazy. I never would have come up with them. But that's why I create. I tell you all the time that my method of learning something is to write something. There's so many things that happen when you write a piece of music, and I don't care how simple it could be. It could be, so real simple. If you're working on right-hand picking, or if you want to work on something where you're like picking on adjacent strings, right? You want to work on that. Maybe you wanted to work on something like that, where you're working on an alternate picking. Write a song. But I feel like I have to create. I was made in the image of a creative God, so therefore He's the great creator, and we all have to create. We all want to, I don't care if you start doodling on a piece of paper. You're wanting to create something that didn't exist. You may build buildings. I'd be impressed. Or you may write a song, or you paint a painting, or whatever. But it's just like, you have to create, and I just think that's just part of being human. So that's where that's why I write stories. One of the things about my screenplays. I mean, not that I ever have any plans on ever having them any of them made. I mean, I think they're great ideas. I wish I could get paid a lot of money by a movie studio just to come up with ideas and let other people run with them. Because I have lots of ideas, but I don't really have any plans that go too hard on these. I have a series that I wrote. I've written a couple episodes, but I've story arced out 20 episodes, and writing like a screenplay is you're very godlike in that moment or in that scenario, because you could be creating a world like Avatar, or Foundation or something like that. You could be creating story paths, stories. You're controlling the paths that people walk. You're controlling their histories, their futures, the now. You're in control of everything. It's a very powerful feeling to have that power over your characters. And sometimes your characters have a power of their own. You're like, wow, I did not know my character was going to do that, but that actually makes a lot of sense, and then that drives the story forward or whatever. So it's hey Genesis, what's going on? Good to see you. Anyway, we're yeah, it's been over 2 hours now. I should probably go. I'm totally rambling way off subjects. But my new video probably will drop on Thursday is my goal. It's ready to go. If you go to the Discord link above, you can click on the video and watch it. Let's see if anybody knows. And then I will post it Thursday. I read an article that Thursdays and Fridays are the best days to post new videos on YouTube. I guess that makes sense. It said noon to 3, so it was very specific about the time frame. So I'm going to try that. I would love to get a good solid bump right off the bat, because I feel like if I get 1,000 or 2,000 views in the first few days, then it's going to start showing up on people's feeds. And I think this video, which is Soloing 101, the 5 pentatonic scales, is a good video. And then I'm going to follow it up with Soloing 101, the 5 box shapes. Okay, and we're going to talk. But this one predates that. So I'm going to do the 5 pentatonic scales, and then you'll want to watch this one before you watch the box shapes, okay? So, I understand that wit's end, and I'm not trying to evangelize anybody here necessarily. I mean, I'm just telling you what I was an atheist, but I was a 12-year-old atheist. So I don't know that a 12-year-old kid could really be an atheist. I just didn't believe in God because I couldn't see him. So, so that was where I was at 12. But I wasn't like super bright or anything like that. It wasn't like I was already graduated from college or something, and I came to that conclusion based on anything other than the fact that I couldn't see God, so I didn't think He existed. So, I get that. But yeah, and I do think having, even just in life, to help get through life, being able to not think that you're the center of the universe, that's a dangerous place for anybody in any spiritual plane, because if you're the center of the universe, then that's really depressing. If you're God, if you're the God of your universe, that's just like, no. In fact, I mean, it's just, your depression is a byproduct. One of the best ways of getting out of depression is to serve others, and particularly to serve others that are less fortunate than you are. If anyone's ever struggles with depression, boy, volunteer. It's one of the best ways to go. You know what? I have very little to be depressed about. So thank you for the Bruce reposting that Discord link. I mention it all the time. And these are indeed truisms that Bruce is posting. You're still not super bright, 12 years. Yeah. Whitson, you said I brought up you were brought up as a Christian, and you would trade that for gold. I'm assuming you mean I wouldn't trade that for gold. Yeah, I mean, our upbringings are interesting. Everybody had different upbringings, even horrific ones. They mold you. I mean, you think about. I just saw a little meme. It was like a business guy in a business suit and like kind of a super overachiever guy, cell phone, a business suit, and the briefcase and everything, and then a bum on the bench, and it's like my dad was an alcoholic and I became an overachiever, and this guy's like my dad was an alcoholic and I became a bum. So yeah, it's like everybody processes trauma differently and reacts to it. I think about how kids process the death of a father or a mother early on. It's very interesting how oftentimes overachievers either had a disapproving father or, I've shared this before, I'm sure, but it was one of the most heartbreaking moments of television I've ever seen in my life. And it was Barbara Walters' Mother's Day special. She was interviewing celebrities and their mothers, and she had Mork and Mindy. Who's the comedian? A Mork and Mindy comedian. Shoot. Oh my gosh, I hate that one. It's like someone whose name I would normally just have no problem thinking. Rich Johnson. Yeah, look at. Yeah, we're still going. Thank you, Robin Williams. I knew Sam would have it. So Robin Williams is being interviewed on Mother's Day with his mother. And Barbara Walters says to the mother, your son has won a Tony Award, an Emmy Award, and a Grammy Award. I mean, are you just beyond the moon proud of your son? And she goes, well, he hasn't won an Oscar. With deadpan face. Completely serious. And Robin Williams is over there. He's like, he kind of giggles it off, right? You know how he would do his thing. It was like, nervous, like laughter. And it was at that moment I understood, this is how much I understood Robin Williams prior to that. I liked him. I thought he was funny. This was a long time ago. This was probably in the 90s. I understood him like this much at that moment. I was like, oh my gosh. He's amazing. He's done all those things. He won a Tony. He won an Emmy. He won a Grammy. He'd been a movie star, in movies. He was in movies. It might have been right around the time. They may have been, how they do these things. They're promoting something. It might have been around the Dead Poets Society, which is really good. But he's overachieving on all these levels as a stand-up comedian, as a television star, as selling records as a movie star, overachieving all these because he's still trying to please his mom. And ultimately, he took the ultimate sacrifice. And I guarantee you that part of that was his mother's voice in his head. It's unbelievable. So yeah, everybody processes things differently, and it's just like kind of how I teach. I teach things from like all these different angles because I don't know which way you're going to understand, the CAGED method. Like, what's going to make, is this all you need to run with it and go, oh yeah, I could do this and this and this and this? Or is this what you need? Or is this just go, wow, that's way too much to look at? No. Give me that first slide again. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of, I try to, how's that for a segue? Back to boy, it was a squirrel and then all the way. It was a squirrel and a sharp left turn back into the other. Yeah, well, definitely, Gary. I'm still here, Gary. Can you believe it? You finally show up. Sadie's here, too. Good to see you, Sadie. Yeah, you tuned in just to have me say, I should do that. See you later. Sadie's here. I got to leave now, so. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, and that may have been, Gary, that may have played a role in Gary book that may have played a role in Robin Williams' thing. But I don't doubt, I know that he was battling depression. And he was also, there were a lot of things. He had financial problems and things like that. And men are much more likely to commit suicide for financial problems, and women are more likely to commit suicide for relationship issues. That, tells you right there the difference. One of the big differences between men and women by how they're willing to pay the ultimate price. So and some of that may be social construct, but I really don't think so. It's probably historically been around for 1,000 years, thousands of years. It's been true. But yeah, Leo thinks, I don't know if it's a good teaching method or not. But yeah, my hope is that I've taught for so many years that my pedagogy is kind of one of like dealing with, you know, at one point I had 40 students a week, so everybody learns differently. And it's like one kid, like I show them this thing and they get it immediately, and another kid is like, I don't understand. So I had to figure out a different way to show it to them. And then third kid is like, I don't understand either one of those ways. You know, so that was how I learned to teach. It was trial and error. I was getting paid. Explain about the dadgad method. Oh, you want to talk about that? Yeah, I could talk. We did a series on that, didn't we, Bruce? That was in there, and Bruce has posted in the Discord a list of all the different things we talked about. So I think what I may talk about is the CAGED method as it pertains to more rhythmic things and less soloistic. See, here I'm showing you scales that are wrapped around these, and Holly's generously created PDFs that contain these files, so you can kind of print up one page instead of 1,000 pages. Well, not one page, but yes, and so he did ultimately win an Oscar, but so this interview I think was timed to be a promotional for Good Will Hunting, and prior to that he hadn't won an Oscar, and his mother was like, he hasn't won an Oscar. It's like, I think all the Oscar voters were watching that episode. They felt bad for him, so it was a great performance. The B string to A. Sam, C. Drop the two E strings to D. Oh, and the B string to A. Oh, dadgad. Yeah, I'm sorry. Who said dadgab? Did I read that wrong? Oh, no, Genesis wrote dadgab. He might mean dadgab. I don't know. Yeah, we've talked a little bit about dadgad, though. Yeah, that's right. Jimmy Page used it a lot. Also, dadgad is cashmere. So, yeah. Somebody asked about Travis pattern. Travis pattern is kind of like a way to play, to kind of be the bass player, the guitar player, and the melody, to play three parts at one time, you know. I'm just riffing. But basically what I'm doing is for being the bass player, and I'm being the rhythm. There's the rhythm players. And then throw the melody on there. Around. Yeah, that's kind of a fun thing. So, will I do a minor CAGED? No. I will not do a minor CAGED. No, you should be able to find the minor shapes in the CAGED, but I won't do a minor CAGED. I've not really ever seen that taught anywhere, so maybe it would be a hugely popular video. But because you can't really make a C minor and a G minor shape with open strings, not without eliminating strings, you can do D, A, and E, no problem, but C and G you really can't do. So anyway, I'm going to sign off. I'm going a long time. My throat's getting sore from all this talking, and I'm losing viewers. So because I keep saying I'm going to leave, and then I don't leave. I'm like that bad parent. I'm serious this time. So I'm going to be serious this time, and thank you, Bruce, for posting those lessons. And, you know, like I said, Monday may be a surprise. Maybe I'll do, we can talk about Travis. Maybe that's what but I don't know. I've talked about that as well before. I'm pretty sure I did a series on finger picking, maybe not specifically the Travis pattern. Let me look and I'll see what I did. But we'll pick up. Thanks for all the donations. Thank you, Steve Berry, for the. I know. I posted my yeah. So it's my email address. That's on the Discord, I think. So if you go somewhere on there, that was my email address where you can actually send directly through PayPal, and that I get 100% off. So I don't care. All of it's good. God bless you. Thank you all for the donations and everything. I will take metal. Peace out, metal gaming guy. And add a like, yeah. I got a lot of likes on this. We're doing good. We got 55 likes. Pretty solid. We peaked at 48 people. That's a pretty good number for us. Okay? So, all right. I will talk to you guys later. God bless you. Goodbye. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon, hopefully.